Oh, I'm delighted to be joined by Olympian Louise Shanahan. Louise, how does that sound?
I'm not quite an Olympian yet, but hopefully in a month's time I will be.
Soon to be.
So yeah, no, it's amazing. It's a dream come true.
And listen, Louise, you're one of three athletes from Leevale AC, yourself and Michelle Finn and Alex Wright. How special is this?
Yeah, it's amazing. Actually, the week running up to nationals, I was back home and training, and I was training in the Leevale clubhouse, and they have a wall there with all their Olympians. So there are 9 posters with their Olympians right now. So they finished the row, and the entire week training, all I could think of was how much I wanted to be the first athlete on the next row. So yeah, fingers crossed, all going well in Tokyo, I can get up on that wall. But yeah, no, it's amazing, and it's great to be in such good company.
Unreal. And Louise, listen, the points and rankings are pretty complicated from the outside. Would you like? And it's been a mad 12 months for you. Would you like to talk to me about that?
Yeah, it's so normally it's like a standard and you run a time and you're in, and once you run that time, you know you're going. And this year it was much, much more complicated. And so obviously it was off the world rankings, which took your 5 best performances from the year. But the performances weren't just time based, you also got points depending on finishing position and the quality of race that you ran in and things like that. And so it was a really complicated system. But I kind of, after I ran quite a good indoor season, I had a big breakthrough. I ran a 201 PB. And after the indoor season, I knew that if I could kind of consolidate and perform consistently at that level, and there was a good chance if I did it in the right races that I would gather enough points to go to the Olympics. So I guess from indoors, the big aim was kind of to get strong enough so that I could replicate that performance and kind of do it 2 or 3 times in a week if needs be. And yeah, since then I've just kind of been looking at the ranking points, trying to work out what races it was best to go to. But yeah, it's definitely a weird system, but I mean, the rules were kind of out there from 2 years ago, and I kind of sat down and learned how to qualify, if that makes sense. And yeah, thankfully I got my legs into shape that they could run the times that I needed to, but it was definitely a weird system to say the least.
Super, you got there. And when did you start really considering Tokyo to be a genuine possibility?
Well, I remember the rowers did an interview in 2016, and I think it was Gary who said that he'd been watching maybe the 2012 Olympics, and he had just decided that he was going to qualify for the 2016 Olympics, and that was going to be that. So I remember after that interview, I was actually running with Lizzie Lee, another one of the Leevale Olympians, and I turned to her and I kind of said, "Oh yeah, so if you just decide it and that's all that you need to do, I'm going to decide now that I'm going to go to Tokyo 2020." It did not go at all to plan. In fact, if the Olympics had been in 2020, not only would I not have been on the plane, I don't think anyone would have said, "Oh, she just missed it" or anything. I was way off the mark in 2020. But yeah, just the way it kind of came in this year. I hit good form in the indoor season. I think I probably started to think it was a possibility then. And then it was probably only the first week in June that I made the decision that, okay, if I'm going to qualify, I'm going to have to go to these ranking point races. And so I'm doing a PhD over in Cambridge. So I left Cambridge for a month to go find good quality races. And yeah, it was probably only kind of then in June that it actually started to look like, oh, she might actually be close and oh, she might actually be going. But yeah, I don't think anyone really expected me to qualify. So it was kind of a nice way to be where there wasn't that much pressure on me to qualify. But it was kind of like, oh, you have a shot and go for it. And yeah, I'm just so glad it paid off.
Super. And Louise, you won your second outdoor senior national title a couple of weeks ago, which essentially secured your ticket to Tokyo. How special is this?
Yeah, so I'd actually won a national indoor 1500-meter title before, but anyone who knows me knows that I'm most definitely an 800-meter runner. And so yeah, so going to nationals, I think I kind of told myself, look, whoever wins nationals is going to the Olympics. And so there was a national title on the line, but also that position to the Olympics. The way it worked out, the race wasn't quite as fast as we had hoped. And so it wasn't kind of cut and tie, whoever wins goes to the Olympics. But yeah, I mean, I just stood in that start line and I had one objective, and that was to win the race. And yeah, I'm really, really glad that I managed to pull it off. So.
And on a personal front, you've had a great a great 12 months, a lot of personal best broken. You moved to 5th on the all-time indoor list. What do you put this down to?
So I think I had quite a successful youth career and then really struggled to progress from there. I had a navicular stress fracture back in, I think, 2015 maybe. And it just took me several years to kind of build back up the training to a point where I could kind of maintain heavy mileage without picking up niggles and things like that. And I think it's all really started to come together since I moved to the UK. So I've been in the UK for 2 years now. But yeah, I think it's just kind of getting the consistent training in. Kind of, it's been 4 years now where I've been training more or less injury free, and touch wood. And so yeah, I think it's kind of the consistent training, getting in the consistent miles, and just having a really good support team around me. So yeah, no, I'm really lucky that it started to work out this year.
Brilliant. And you're coached by your dad, Ray, obviously a highly decorated athlete himself. How good is it to have him in your corner?
Yeah, so it's actually, so my dad coached me all the way from when I was 9 up to the point where I moved to the UK. And now he joint coaches me with Phil O'Dell, who's based over in the UK. So I consider myself quite a high maintenance athlete. I quite like having a coach that's kind of present for sessions, because I have a tendency to blow up or run too quickly, and it really helps me to kind of have someone there who can say, slow down, don't do that, stop now, kind of. I'm not very good at kind of following a program from paper. But yeah, so I'm really, really lucky to kind of have both men coaching me. But yeah, it's been such a privilege to be coached by my father. I think he kind of understands me better than anyone else. So I think he also understands that academics is also quite important to me. So I have an undergraduate in physics, and I'm now doing a PhD over in Cambridge. And you know, I couldn't be just a runner, if that makes sense. He knows that kind of I perform best when I don't spend all my time thinking about running. And maybe kind of a lot of other people wouldn't necessarily understand that. They'd be kind of saying, oh, you know, go all in for running. But yeah, no, it's been a huge privilege, and it's really helped me kind of through the difficult teenage years. And kind of he knew that, you know, that I wasn't going out partying, that I was training hard and things like that. And yeah, it's worked really well, and I'm really lucky kind of to have such an amazing coach at home and an amazing coach over in the UK.
Yeah, it sure has. And were you aware that you and your father are the first father-daughter pair to win the 1500 meter
Yes,
national
I
title?
wasn't aware of it until after the race. But as he likes to remind me, he won back-to-back indoor 1500 meter titles, whereas I've only won one of them. In my defense, the championship was cancelled this year, so I don't know if you'd call it back-to-back with the missing year with COVID. But yeah, he still went up on me on that, so I'm working on it.
And Irish athletics, look, it's safe to say it's in a super place at the moment. Do you know, what can you put that down to?
Yeah, I think Irish athletics in particular has actually really benefited off COVID, because a lot of Irish athletes are amateurs, and we've kind of been lucky enough that since COVID started, we've been able to kind of act like professionals, or at least semi-professionals. So I know that since COVID started, my recovery has increased hugely, and I think that has really helped me to improve. So Irish athletics is doing really, really well right now. And then I think kind of as soon as one person improves, kind of that causes everyone else to level up. I remember in the indoors seeing Nadia running those times and saying, oh, you know, I'm going to have to run a little faster than planned. And then, of course, Georgie ran that time, which caused me to run faster. And then Schieffer went and broke the national record. So I think, yeah, especially in women's 800, kind of we're all forcing each other to run faster. And I think that's really, really good for the sport. So it's a really good time kind of for Irish, especially for Irish athletes, especially in the middle distances. So
sure. And in the 800 meter in particular, 5 of you in 5 days broke the record, the under 203 record that has stood since 1990. How special is it to be part of that?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. It probably wasn't the best thing for me, because while I did break it, I didn't get to go to the European indoors as a result. And so it is really great to be running those times. But unfortunately, when you have so many athletes running those times, there are athletes who lose out, and there are athletes who don't get to go to championships. So it is really good, and it really helped me build for the outdoors. But yeah, it is also tough for kind of the athletes who do run amazingly well and then don't get kind of the rewards or get to go to the championships and things like that. But yeah, it's brilliant for Irish athletics, and it must be great for everyone else watching it.
Sure. And listen, Tokyo's just around the corner. Are the excitement levels starting to rise now?
Yeah, so I think I'm flying out on Thursday maybe. So yeah, so it's more of a panic packing, if that makes sense. I'm still in quarantine, and I think I'm going to have about 24 hours once I get out of quarantine to pack and get my life together. So right now I would say it's more slightly stressful, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, I've wanted to go to the Olympics for as long as I can remember. So right now I'm literally living my dream, so I can't really complain.
Good for you. And how has the support been from back home? I'm sure everyone's is as excited as you are.
Oh yeah, no, it's been amazing. Literally just before I came on this call, I got a text from my primary school to congratulate me for qualifying. And it actually, there's 3 athletes from my primary school. So track and field, rowing and gymnastics will all be represented by my not very big primary school in Cork.
Okay.
But yeah, and all my family and everything have been getting on to me. So yeah, no, it's been really great. I'm blown away by the support back here in Ireland.
Brilliant. And finally, what are your hopes heading into the games?
Yeah, I think no one really expected me to qualify for Tokyo, so I think kind of I've achieved a lot just by making it there. But obviously, when I stand on that start line, I want to run to the best of my abilities. So I'd absolutely love to come away with a PB, and yeah, I guess I'll be running that heat like it's a final. But I guess in racing, especially in 800, anything can happen. So we'll see.
Super. Thanks a million and best of luck.
Thank you.